You're listening to the Outsourcing and Offshoring Philippines podcast. I'm Henry Acosta, the host for this business and technology podcast. Joining us today are Joe Curran and Tom Cragg. Joe is the Executive Vice President and Tom is the Vice President for Sales at KMC Solutions. They're joining us today to talk about KMC Solutions and what it's like working with them as a client and even as an employee. Welcome to the show, guys, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
So can you guys tell us a little bit more about yourselves and what you do at KMC Solutions?
By all means, sure. So my name's Tom Cragg. I've been in the Philippines now for about 11 years. Was born and raised in South Wales in the UK. Went to university in Manchester. And my first job was here in the Philippines with a medical transcription firm. And I was working with that company for about 5 years as their sort of operations manager stroke acting general manager in the Philippines before joining KMC Solutions about 6.5 years ago. So yeah, that's me and my background.
Yeah. So as Tom mentioned, my name is Joe Curran. I'm from Ireland originally. Executive Vice President with KMC Solutions. I've been in the Philippines for about 14 years now. My background is predominantly on the real estate side. I've worked as a tenant rep for 7.5 years with CBRE, and then moved on to be country manager for Cushman & Wakefield from 2012 to 2015, and before coming on board to join KMC Solutions 2015.
Awesome, and once again, thank you guys for coming on the show today. It seems like you guys have been really busy, and I appreciate you guys for making the time to join the podcast.
Sure. Yeah, it is. It's nonstop. It never seems to settle down really, which I guess from a Philippines and an industry perspective is good news, right?
Yeah, that's really good news. And can you tell us a little bit more about KMC Solutions and what you guys do?
Yeah, by all means. There's essentially sort of two sides to the business, really. So the one side is the staff leasing that we call it, essentially a BPO, where we hire employees on behalf of employees or virtual teams, let's say, on behalf of offshore companies, and manage all of the HR and payroll. The recruitment that I mentioned, and give them a desk to sit at, more bandwidth than they'll ever need, and all of the tools that they need to do their job. So in terms of the hardware, IT infrastructure, headset, dual screens, all that we typically provide our clients very much on an a la carte basis. The second side of the business is the desks, let's say, and that can range anything from one person in one of our co-working spaces, which is obviously now a very sort of sexy term in the industry. We've also got serviced offices or private offices, much like other serviced office providers, and we also do build to suit, which is more of a sort of whole floor. Built specifically to the client's specifications, long-term leases, and obviously some cost incentives with that commitment that we get from clients. I guess the other aspect of the seat leasing side would also be disaster recovery. So some tenants will use us for a dark room, and others will use us on a retainer. So that in the event that there was ever an emergency, we would allocate a certain number of desks to them in the event that there was a disaster.
Yeah, and can you tell us about the services that you guys offer to your clients?
Yeah, so as mentioned by Tom, so I guess our main services are on the staff leasing or staff augmentation side, or around the facilities, purely on the facilities side. So like as Tom mentioned, with the staff augmentation piece, or we call it staff leasing, it goes by different names, I guess, in different countries. I think in the US it's known as PEO or staff augmentation, whereas we call it staff leasing here. So meaning to say we're the employer of record. We recruit Clients provide us with roles that they would like to fill in the Philippines. We then go ahead and commence the recruitment and build up the team, onboard, provide the ongoing HR and payroll through our own software that we developed in-house called Sprout. We provide that ongoing HR and payroll piece. And then, as Tom mentioned, we also provide the facility. So we would equip them with their own room, biometric access, which is synced up to the payroll. We would build a team for them. And then the client actually manages the team. So I suppose that's a slight difference between a fully managed outsourcing solution versus what we offer. So we provide purely the facilities, the HR and the payroll, and then the client kind of oversees the day-to-day tasks, I guess, being allocated to the teams. And then, like Tom mentioned, on the other side, some companies purely just need us for the facilities. So we have, over 6,000 workstations now around Metro Manila. So a large corporate or a large outsourcing provider may need a couple of hundred seats, 12, 24 months, depends. And they'll come in and just use us purely for the facilities, so without any HR and payroll support. So those would be, I guess, the main services that we offer. So it's really the crux of our business.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds interesting. And about the businesses who are interested in working with KMC Solutions, do you guys offer your services to small to medium-sized businesses all the way to bigger companies?
Yeah, that's correct. I guess there's on the staff augmentation, the staff leasing side, it can be anywhere from 5-person teams up to, I guess, our biggest would be about 400. But the most of them would probably be in the 5 to 20 person range, and they would typically be SMEs from countries like Australia and the US that want to outsource or want to offshore, but maybe they're too small to get the attention from the large third-party providers. They also want to have maybe a bit more control. So they would come in and use us on that staff leasing, staff augmentation model. And then with regards to just purely the facilities, it's really companies that are already established, already have legal entities in the Philippines, and are purely just requiring flexible workspace solutions.
I see. And can you tell us a little bit more about your offices here in the Philippines and where people can find you guys?
Sure. So we're basically largely scattered around Metro Manila. So the three major business districts here, Bonifacio Global City or Taguig or Fort Bonifacio is the one. And we have, multiple floors in 5 different buildings in Taguig. We also have space in Makati, again, multiple floors across 2 buildings there. And the majority of the growth for us in 2018 will be down in Ortigas. We already have a fairly significant presence there. We're already in 3 different buildings, and that's soon to become 6 different buildings. So in Metro Manila alone, we'll be pushing almost 30 floors by around July this year. And we also have 1 floor in the IT park down in Cebu.
Wow, that's incredible. And you guys are even expanding all the way to the south of the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a really good ride so far.
With all your expansion and growth happening, do you think that the location of your offices play a big role in finding the right clients and the right staff members for them?
Yeah, I think that's where clients get a lot of value from KMC, particularly from my account management team. It's we've been doing this for a long time, and we've sort of seen what works and what doesn't in terms of what types of employees typically like particular facilities or particular business districts in terms of the commute and transportation hubs and things like that. So. We've actually, say for example, and this is just one example, but in Bonifacio Global City, which is sort of, I guess in the past, hasn't been the easiest one for employees to get in and out of, if they're commuting and taking public transport. So we've deliberately located ourselves in the malls, or the tower blocks on the side of malls, I should say, which are right next to the transportation hub in BGC. Therefore, employees can, they're not having to get onto an additional mode of transport when they get into Bonifacio Global City.
I think just to add as well to what Tom says, going a step further and into the actual facilities themselves as well. I mean, purely from a design standpoint, we also try to differentiate ourselves a bit and build, the types of facilities. I guess the workforce here is largely, it's a young demographic, average age of about 23, 24, 1.4 million directly employed in BPO. So it's a competitive labor market, and it's a young demographic. So in terms of our design setup, we really try and, I guess, appeal to that younger demographic and offer, a kind of a holistic work environment. So in some of our newer facilities, we're building in a multi-purpose room where we run yoga classes and this kind of stuff out of. So, a lot of breakout areas, big pantries with tiered seating, good internet, good Wi-Fi throughout, IT bars, for IT support. So I guess we do try and use our facilities and our footprint, our real estate footprint, as a way to attract the right kind of talent to be able to fill the roles on behalf of our clients
and retain that talent, of course. So having some of those facilities that Joe mentions, we really see the benefits when the employee satisfaction surveys come in.
Thanks for telling us. I have a better picture of how your offices work and look like. And yeah, so let's say there's a prospective client who wants to work with you guys and they happen to be in the Philippines. What can they expect when they first walk in your offices?
Well, you'll be greeted by one of our receptionists that actually double up as a nurse, so that we have qualified healthcare practitioners in each of our sites. Obviously, we have clinics on site as well, so they're not just there for show, let's say. You'd be greeted by the receptionists, and typically you'd be walking into one of our co-working areas or business lounges back of the reception area, where clients can sort of take a cup of coffee, open their laptop and check their emails and whatnot, get on the Wi-Fi. As you make your way around, you'd see the conference rooms and training rooms, the clinic, small meeting rooms, interview rooms, the nap rooms for employees, the ones working the night shift, etc. Around as you make your way around the corridors, on your left and right, you'd see offices, anything from, as Joe mentioned, about 3 to 5 employees, up to anything as big as sort of 220, I think, is our biggest sort of serviced office space at the moment.
Wow, that's a lot of people, and I'm sure that covers the whole floor already.
Yeah, believe it or not, that one of our floors is about 3,400 square meters, and we have 2 in that building. So that's like almost 700 desks per floor.
That's incredible, and yeah, wow. I don't think I can comprehend how it must be like knowing you guys have that much space, and yeah, thanks for describing.
Well, actually, we have some 360 tours on our website, so it's probably a little bit premature to start talking about contacting us and checking the website. But there are some 360 tours that we've put on there, so that if clients aren't actually physically in Manila, they can still take a good look at our facilities.
That sounds awesome, and I'll for sure check it out. And on the topic of clients, though, in a geographical sense, where do your clients usually come from? The US, Australia, Canada, or Europe?
Well, actually, you've more or less hit the nail on the head. I think just to talk a little bit about trends as well. We're currently supporting, I think it's about 24 different countries across the world. Predominantly, as Joe mentioned, like a lot of the serviced office and build to suit, that's really done for domestic companies, in the sense that they're registered, their entity is registered here in the Philippines. Of course, a lot of those are multinationals. But on the staff leasing side, I'd say that the grand majority would be Australia and US. And we are now seeing some nice growth from Europe and Canada as well. In the region, I'd say Singapore and Hong Kong would be another good catchment area for us, clients-wise.
That's great. And yeah, that sounds great for you guys, since you guys still have a lot of seats available for them to fill in. So when businesses hire you guys for your outsourcing services, how do you guys usually bill them, or how does your billing system work? Is it at a per hour of work basis, or they have to meet a certain amount of work before they get billed?
Well, first off, we don't actually bill our clients until we've placed their first employee under our corporate umbrella. So I guess that's a big advantage for our clients in terms of, mitigating the risk of us never finding the right employee. But in terms of the billing itself, it's really a cost plus model. So it's really, the employee compensation and benefits, and clients really go for us and really pick us out because of our transparency in that regard. So we lay out on the invoice support, exactly how much was paid to the employee, and what mandatory contributions were made to various agencies here in the Philippines, and the taxes, of course. And actually, a lot of that information is copied and pasted from the HR and payroll software that Joe mentioned earlier, Sprout. So huge transparency. And yeah, we just basically assign a monthly HR and payroll processing fee, regardless of salary. That's the same whether they're a web developer earning 200,000 pesos a month, or a data entry specialist earning closer to 20,000 pesos a month. It's the same set fee on top of the compensation and benefit every month. And then they pay for the workstation rental, which is typically, all inclusive of bandwidth, redundancies of that bandwidth, obviously the desk and chair, and usually the IT hardware, so the PC, the dual screen, the headset, and the phone in some cases.
Oh man, thanks for letting us know. And for those prospective clients who are looking to outsource and even work with KMC Solutions, what are the things that they should know about or be ready about before outsourcing?
That's a really good question. I think the you'll get a lot of information on the first call. We have really good relationships with IBPAP, which are by far the sort of the industry leaders, or the thought leaders locally when it comes to outsourcing in the Philippines. We work very closely with them and get a lot of our data from them, and vice versa. We share some of our data. So I think on that first phone call with myself or Joe or one of our account managers, there'd be a lot of information that would be provided to clients. Everybody knows that it's obviously going to be huge cost savings compared to locations like Australia and the US. What people typically don't quite realize, at least not from day one, is the vast range of talent that can be sourced locally. So a lot of the time, our clients will come in requesting, one of the major brands in this area were asking us to put some travel consultants in place, and based on some sort of conversations and some advice we were able to give them, sooner or later they were putting like SEO teams in place, data entry guys, database specialists, research staff, and even some sort of web developers and senior IT roles in position here. So I think that's the pleasant surprise that clients receive when they come into the Philippines for the first time.
Yeah, it's always a pleasant surprise for everyone who's outsourcing here to the Philippines, especially when they find out how versatile and hardworking the workforce that is available here.
Yeah, there's 650,000 Western-oriented college graduates per year being churned out of the universities. So, that gives you some sort of, I guess, some appreciation of the scope of what's available here.
So for your newer clients who are in the small to medium-sized category, do you think there's a difference in their expectations when they start outsourcing versus the companies who are already big in size?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, one of the things we always try to make clear to the clients as they come in is that, typically what we've seen to be the most successful clients we've had have been those ones who've really subscribed to the model, meaning, again, an understanding that it's not a fully managed solution that they're buying into, that it does also require their buy-in. And so the ones that we've seen work best have been those clients who've made the trips up here once a quarter, had the regular touch points with the team. This isn't, a scenario where you just kind of, appoint somebody on an hourly model and kind of walk away and that's that taken care of. At least in theory, that's how it should be. This model requires, it does require buy-in also from management on the client side to be actually able to make it work and make sure they foster that culture to their team, and there's that constant communication and collaboration, across the board, across boundaries. Expectations, I suppose, the smaller clients will start small, so it's probably not as big or as high risk a decision as a large company who's looking to outsource, hundreds of roles, over a period of a couple of months. So I suppose the expectations are in check when it's the SMEs. They don't, they know what they're getting into. It's a big decision for them. They've obviously never thought about something like this before or are exploring it. So they kind of feel their way out with it. They wouldn't necessarily just dive right in and hire, 30 or 50 people day one. So I think from that sense, it allows them to keep their expectations in check and kind of figure out what works, what are the right roles, refine the job descriptions. If people need to be replaced or if there's attrition, that plays out along the way. Tom, I don't know if you have any more to add to that.
No, I think that's well said. I think that's exactly right. And as I said, I mean, the Joe's absolutely right. The clients that we hear from now, and they tell us how much they're saving in some cases, millions of dollars per annum. Those are the companies that, for the first 6 to 12 months, someone was on a plane every month, coming in to nurture, train, spend time with the employees and make them feel like they were an extension of that Sydney or San Francisco office. So, no, I don't think I have anything else to add. Well said, Joe.
That's really great news to your prospective clients and maybe even our listeners. I'm sure they're interested at this point with KMC Solutions. And yeah, it sounds like you guys found the right recipe and balance to push your clients towards the success that they are looking for.
We hope so. I mean, we've had to make some mistakes ourselves along the way and learn from them. So, we hope we're getting there at this point.
Yeah, I guess the model as well, it gives flexibility for a company that may eventually want to take their own operation captive. So we've had clients who've come in, used us on this staff leasing model, hit a certain scale. Maybe once they get to, 70 to 100 people, start looking at, I might need to start building out my own HR backbone, or, now I'm ready to incorporate. We've had clients who've kind of evolved and incorporated, and then maybe they've used this for the facilities, or, have gone off and leased their own office space and grown their own captive operation. So I guess it's, it can also be a stepping stone for those businesses that are they have substantial scale. Maybe they've outsourced to a third party and now they're looking to build out their own captive operation. So this is a kind of a stepping stone, I guess, as well for companies that may want to do that.
Can you tell our listeners who are interested in KMC Solutions, can you tell them how they can get in touch with the people there, and what's the best way that they can talk to you guys?
Well, I mean, I think the easiest possible way is to drop me an email. My email address is thomas.cragg, thomas.cragg @kmc.solutions. and we can schedule a call from there. Alternatively, they can go onto our website, kmcsolutions.us, and fill in one of our forms and send us a message, and one of our account managers will be in touch within 12 hours.
Awesome, and thanks for telling us. And can you give us a takeaway message from KMC Solutions before we end the interview?
No, I think get in touch. Get on the plane. It's the sort of thing. Typically, you kind of have to look and feel everything for yourselves. And we'd be happy to show you around.
Yeah, and well, that's all our questions for today. And it was great having you guys on the podcast. Thank you so much for making the time to join the podcast.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us.
Much appreciated.
And that was Tom Cragg and Joe Curran. Tom is the VP for Sales and Joe is the Executive VP at KMC Solutions. We just finished talking about KMC Solutions, and if you're interested in them, please do visit their website at www.kmcsolutions.us. You've been listening to the Outsourcing and Offshoring Philippines podcast, your one-stop podcast for all your Philippine BPO needs. Make sure to leave us a like on our podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. That really helps us out. And don't forget to join us on our Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube pages. Yeah, just search for us on their respective search engines. Just look for Outsourcing and Offshoring podcast. And yeah, you can go ahead and find us. We provide content on how you can achieve success with your business alongside outsourcing. So please do leave a like, follow, and subscribe on our pages. This is the Outsourcing and Offshoring Philippines podcast, and I am Henry Acosta. Thank you so much for listening, guys.